Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce. This is a 22 pistol with a 22 suppressor on it because I'm going to be shooting 22 today. I had a very good question from a viewer from a few videos back, and they asked what was the best suppressor to get for a 22 application. Well, let's go over that right now. First of all, let's shoot a few because I have not tested this upper yet on this pistol. Looks like she's shooting just fine. Putting safety right now. Okay, so what do I look for in a 22 suppressor? You might think the only thing you're looking for is how quiet it is, and that is the major concern, is how quiet the suppressor is. But it turns out it's fairly easy to suppress a 22. I have another one as well. I've got a third one in the back of the truck. I collected them sheerly by accident practically, but there is a good reason why I have three. And that is the second thing you look for in a suppressor, and that is ease of cleaning or ease of maintenance. Now, the problem with 22 is it is a very dirty cartridge. It leaves a lot of soot, it leaves a lot of lead, a lot of gunk, a lot of grease and wax behind, and it builds up inside the baffle because these are filled with baffles to kind of slow down that charge of air coming through there. That's how a suppressor works. It basically slows down the egress of gas until it's cooled down and not as explosive as it exits the suppressor. One way to do that is like one of these that I've got, and I've got an aluminum and a titanium version of this, and it's a K baffle style suppressor. There's also like a cup style suppressor, but the K and cup style suppressors are much harder to clean than this sucker. This is a Silencer Co. Sparrow. Is it the quietest? No, not really, not anymore. It was for a long time, but it is no longer king of the 22 suppressor, but it is still very high up there, and it's super easy to clean. It's a monocore suppressor. There's a picture of it right there, and all you got to do is wait for that gunk to really build up, and then you take your knife and just chunk it off. You don't need to have it shiny. Actually, I demonstrated in a video beforehand that if you have a shiny clean suppressor, it is louder than a slightly dirty suppressor. If you're concerned about maintenance, if you're going to put in a ton of ammo through your suppressor, then I highly recommend the Silencer Co. Sparrow. Even though it is an older technology, it is a super easy to clean and super easy to live with technology. If you're looking at your screen, you're saying, Deuce, I don't care about maintenance. I have a stainless steel tumbler. I have an ultrasonic cleaner. I can throw all that garbage into one of those, go to bed, wake up to a clean suppressor. And that's cool. If you don't get an aluminum suppressor, then you can do that. And the three 22 suppressors I would recommend for you to look at for that situation, for the quietest but also fairly hard to clean suppressors, is the Dead Air Mask, the Rugged Oculus, and the Silencer Co. Switchback. Those three are some of the quietest average Joe suppressors you're going to find. Now, the Silencer Co. Switchback goes in and out of stock all the time, so you may not be able to find those locally. Also, the Dead Air Mask has had some quality control problems recently. So pour over that thing with a fine-tooth comb. Look over that thing very closely before you put your name on it and start the stamp process, because you could be up a certain creek without a paddle if you end up with a broken suppressor right out of the gate, and you've got to go ahead and send it back for quality control. As of the recording of this video, I am not aware of any kind of quality control issues with the Silencer Co. Switchback or the Sparrow. The Sparrow is rock solid, by the way, or the Rugged Oculus. You're going to get online and you're going to say, hey Deuce, I saw this thing online that looks really cool. It's called the Q Erector, and it's made by the company Q, the silencer company Q, and it's kind of an erector set where basically it's a, safety on, it's a maximum length that's, your suppressor is registered as a maximum length, but you can make it smaller if you want to. And it's a big old boy. It's pretty big as far as the suppressor goes. It's individual baffles that screw off individually. There's a picture of it, and it is a very unique suppressor. It is very quiet, but it's all aluminum. And why is that an issue? Well, number one, aluminum is cool if you're looking for the lightest weight suppressor that works well. And you can make an aluminum suppressor that is very, very quiet, but you can't clean it with a stainless steel tumbler, and you can't clean it with the so-called dip, the very caustic dip that dissolves all the junk you put in your suppressor. You can't do that because it will eat away the aluminum, and you can't use the ultrasonic cleaner either because, again, it will eat away the aluminum. So you're stuck sitting there with a pocket knife scraping out gunk whenever you need to clean it. Also, the dude who owns Q is an a-hole. Me saying that puts me up for litigation. He might sue me just for saying that. That's what kind of a-hole we're talking about. So I do not recommend them. Plus, they do kind of unscrew through time. If you're going to sit there and just crank out magazine after magazine, they're going to slowly work themselves free sometimes. And then you're going to get a baffle strike where the bullet actually impacts the inside of your suppressor. You don't want that, trust me. For the budget-minded shooter, there's also a really good suppressor called the B&T 22 Suppressor. It is almost as quiet as the Rugged Oculus, the Soundscope Switchback, the Data Mask. It is almost right up there, just a shade underneath that as far as loudness goes. In both tone, first round pop's pretty good on it, all that good stuff. But it's aluminum as well. It's aluminum just like this one is, which is very nice in the fact that it is very lightweight. This is half the weight of the Sparrow here, but it's also a pain to clean. Another thing to remember about aluminum 22 suppressors is the fact that most, if not all of them, are limited to 22 long rifle only. That means you cannot shoot 22 Magnum, 17 caliber, or 5.7 pistol rounds. And the vast majority of steel and titanium suppressors can shoot those other options. Now, I will admit that I am kind of a fanboy of Soundscope because they've been in the industry for a very long time for a suppressor company. They have made a lot of unique suppressors. They're the most present in the industry. Whenever there's some litigation going on about suppressors, they are the ones who shows up and really informs the public on, hey, this is a bad bill. Make sure you, safety off, contact your congressman about this bill because it could make suppressor ownership a hassle going forward. They're the ones on the front line, way more so than the other suppressor manufacturers. I don't know if that's one of their sales points or it's because they're a very large organization. I'm not sure, but they're very active in the industry, which is what I prefer. And if you do want to stick with Soundscope, but you want the cheapest suppressor possible, then I highly recommend take a look at the Soundscope Warlock. It is an aluminum baffle suppressor, so cleaning is going to be a hassle, but it's under 2 bills usually, and it weighs 2 ounces. It is crazy lightweight. Another thing to keep in mind is, what are you going to be shooting this on? I mean, most of us 22 people have 22 pistols and 22 rifles, and the suppressor goes back and forth between them. That is a concern if you're going to shoot mostly pistols. The Soundscope Sparrow, any kind of monocore style suppressor, is going to have a larger tendency to have a first round pop, or the first round pop is going to be louder on a pistol with a monocore style suppressor versus a cup style suppressor. Lastly, if you already have a pistol suppressor, a 9mm or a 45 caliber pistol suppressor that is cleanable, you can take it all apart and clean it, then you can still use that as a 22 suppressor. This is an Octane 9 from Soundscope, of course, a very old one of their first ones. And it works just fine as a 22 suppressor. Let me shoot to the side there so you don't hear the steel. Super quiet. It's super quiet. It is very, very large though. That's a lot of suppressor for that. But for years and years, I used this as my suppressor for 22s. One caveat to that is the fact you need to get a solid mount for it. You cannot use your booster mount on a 22 suppressor because it's a fixed barrel design. So you're going to have to do that, or you do risk a baffle strike. If you're trying to make notes on this video and you think you might have missed a few points I made, I will put my suggestions down in the first comment down below. I usually put my first comment, I pin that to the top of the comment section, and that is where I put my thoughts and my links and everything right there, because that's where YouTube kind of doesn't bother me there. So look at that and make your decisions. If you're looking for a 22 suppressor, that will be what I suggest. Well guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more is on the way. If you have any comments, questions, show ideas, leave that in the comment box down in the video. I will try to answer as many of those as possible. Actually, once this video goes live, I will be hanging around for a couple of hours, so put your comment in there and I will read it. As always, you guys have a great day. See ya.